Hello there, Uduak here. I just wanted to do a video about my Lotus birth experience. As you know, I'm a birth doula and I have been a doula for over 10 years. I have attended births in hospitals, at home and in birth centres, and I've met amazing women with amazing stories. When you've had a baby or children and you come into this role and you see things which you've never heard of and never experienced, and you've thought, no, that's amazing. If I have another baby, I would love to do this, you know. I'd love to experience this and do this myself. One of the things I really would love to have experienced during the time when I first heard about it, over 5-6 years ago, the Lotus birth, I said, oh, if I have another baby, this is what I'm going to do. So now, 2015, I'm getting ready to have my baby, my third baby. I'm going to have my baby at home and I'm going to have a Lotus birth. A Lotus birth is when you have your baby naturally vaginally or not. Really, the main purpose of the Lotus birth is when the placenta is still attached to the baby after birth and it hasn't been detached either by scissors or any other method other than it separating itself during a period of time. That is Lotus birth. The placenta is still retained to the baby for however long that period is. The aim is really to have the baby vaginally, have the placenta vaginally, but there are some women who may have the need to have cesarean, and once they've consulted their doctors, they can actually make that happen. So, you know, a Lotus birth can happen that, you know, like a cesarean, with the support of doctors. I am in my pregnancy getting prepared and asking myself, why do I want to do this? Even though I've envisioned this is one of the things I love to do if I have a baby, now having a baby, and how is it going to benefit me? One of the reasons why I wanted to do them was I found it such a beautiful thing to want to experience. You know, still acknowledging the power and the amazement of this placenta, what is done in the pregnancy and growth period of my baby, is something that I really wanted to honor more. You know, in my other two labours and birth, I was able to have delayed cord clamping, and which was important for me. I wanted to retain, I didn't want the placenta cord to be cut immediately. I wanted it to be delayed because I wanted to preserve as much blood supply to the baby. And when that blood supply stopped, I was happy for the midwife or my partner to cut the cord. That's what happened for those two occasions, and I was very happy with that. This time I wanted to go further and not cut the cord at all. That was basically it. I really wanted the cord to be preserved and allow that separation to occur naturally, however long it took, which could be up to 4 days to 10 days. Have a plan of what you want, you know, implement this in your birth plan, which is really good. I told my midwives, you know, towards maybe in the 8th month, I was very lucky to have very holistic midwives who supported my wishes, and that's really important. As a doula, I've always felt what's the most important thing to the pregnant mum is to feel and be supported in her wishes to how she has a pregnancy and how she labours and how she gives birth. So when my daughter was born at home and the placenta was born, they put it in a small bowl and they didn't interfere with it, they just left the placenta, and I was very happy with that, and they just focused on the care and needs of me at that time and of baby. They didn't need to interfere with it. The birth was fine, the baby was fine. After a few hours of being checked over, as you do, the whole process, I was left at home with family and friends who were at my birth. I also didn't tell them because I really didn't want to have their opinions kind of add into my thoughts. When I have something planned, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. When they see it and experience, that's their experience as well. So I was really just focused on what I wanted and just zoomed in on my needs. Everyone thinks the placenta is discarded soon after the baby's born. It's cut and thrown away, unless with the wishes of the parent they wish to keep it, take it home and do whatever they wish with it. But a majority of women today, when they have the baby and the placenta is disconnected from that baby, it's thrown away, never to be thought about, never to be acknowledged of what it does for that whole 9 months. That's it, gone. I didn't want to do that, you know. I didn't want to just not think about it. You know, with my knowledge and experience as a doula, I've learned so much about the female, about the birthing process, and I learned a lot about the placenta. You know, when you learn about everything about you as a female, you learn that everything attached to you is just as important. The uterus is such an amazing organ that it can actually create another organ, which is the placenta. And when I read that years ago, I thought, yes, how amazing is that? I just wanted to acknowledge that for myself in my birthing experience. It wasn't until maybe 3-4 hours, no, maybe 4 or 5 hours until I kind of processed the whole birth, rested, that I was able to really spend and connect with this placenta. You know, now the baby was born and the placenta was born, I was sitting in bed and just looking at this placenta. I did some energy work in terms of just touching it and holding it and kind of getting a sense of what type of feeling I'll get from it. To me, it was a very amazing experience to just hold this placenta. You know, this is something that was in me for such a long time. I grew this in the space of 9 months. Actually, I grew this in the space of a month. You know, the first 3 months, this is where we grow the placenta, the mother, and thereafter the placenta takes over the role of us nurturing that baby and nurtures the baby until, you know, birth occurs. So I'm holding this organ that's been in me for such a short period of time, and I'm just thinking and just acknowledging it for what it really is. This powerful entity. It was a lovely experience. It had this lovely glowing energy. Just, you know, it's this small, it's a really small size. It could fit into the palm of your hand. Some placentas are very small and some are really big, where your hands have to be kind of held quite widely. But mine was quite nice and compact like this. Even though it was this small, it felt this big. Just from the energy, it was really like, the energy was just so massive. And I was very thankful for what it had done for me, done for my baby. And I think that was also very important for me, just to really give thanks and to say, wow, how amazing are you? How amazing you have been. And just acknowledging that, because for me, I was at a time, you know, my hormones were just of love, of having an amazing birth, being, you know, present with my amazing baby. So everything for me was a lot more heightened, a lot more sensitive to the gratitude of everything around me. You clean it and you preserve it until that disconnection is made naturally. How do you preserve the placenta? You do that by cleaning the placenta and preserving it with herbs. You can actually do it with essential oils, because they're still herbs or flowers and salt. You do that by washing the placenta, and you balm the placenta with the herbs of your choice. I chose rosemary, I chose lavender, lots of lavender, I chose rose, calendula, and salt. I use Himalayan salt. You can use sea salt, but that's what I had. I did this after 4 hours after the birth, simply because that's when I had the energy. And I had a friend with me who didn't have a clue what I was doing, asked me many questions, the whys, what for, and I answered the questions. And really and truly, it's also very good when you have something that you bring in you into your circle of family and friends. They learn, even though they're not keen on it, they actually learn something different, and whether they agree with it, it's okay, but what it is they learn something different and see that this is a normal thing to do. It's just added more time to self-care, really and truly, in terms of holding the baby and holding placentas.
Some people may feel squeamish, but I really did preserve it as well as I could.
I kept my placenta in a bowl, a wooden bowl, and covered it and waited for days until the placenta dried up, which it does. Once the blood flow has completed, it just dries up, very shriveled up. All the nutrients just dry up, and the detachment from the baby's cord to the placenta just dries up and slowly just breaks off bit by bit. Sometimes it breaks off completely, or it just breaks off bit by bit. My placenta would detach from my daughter after 3 days. Some last for 10 days. I think it could be because she was born in spring, so it was a lot warmer. It varies, but for myself it took 3 days. Babies will kick off their cord from the navel because now they're just more active, so that's a normal thing, you know, or they can move and it just rolls. So this is a normal process, but after, I'll say from 3 days up until 10 days, the cord will dry up and eventually disconnect, or baby may just kick it off. Her response was fine, and that was it. You know, she just went back to being played and tickled by Big Brother. I stayed in bed most of the time, which allowed me to do nothing but sleep, feed baby, eat. I was really in the space of really being well rested, and that's really important. I didn't really understand what it means to rest, to eat and to sleep, not in the first and second pregnancies. This gave me the opportunity to really do that, and really I felt like I just went further into myself to really sleep. Your body is just recovering, it's just weaving itself back to recovery, and those 3 days really set a very strong foundation for my postnatal period for the following 6 to 12 months. I really valued that and understood it, and because I felt it, experienced it, I wanted to have that feeling over and over again. I recognized what was the most important thing was just myself and my baby. If I could nurture myself, really nurture myself, then I was able really to nurture my daughter. And that was a really big learning experience for me as a mother of 3. Of the 3 babies, I was able to really learn that. I applied other elements of postnatal recovery from very traditional African or cultural practices of belly binding, using yoni steams and herbs and other elements which worked for me personally, but those things were really also key in my recovery. You can have an option of burying the placenta and planting a tree, a flower bush, whatever you feel that is right for you. That's how I see the final resting place of the placenta. It's nurturing the earth. There are some bags that are specially made to carry the placenta and easier for you to carry baby, but for me a wooden bowl was just as good. It was nice and it fitted, carried the placenta well, it fitted it perfectly. For me, I wasn't really intending on being that mobile. You know, it's either my bed or the sofa. Experiencing a Lotus birth has been a real good start for my postnatal period. It helped me feel a lot more grounded in myself, which enhanced my bonding experience with my daughter. And because I really got a better understanding, I wanted to maintain it as long as possible throughout my postnatal period. And there were times when I felt a bit ahead of myself, and I could tell the difference that this is not normal for me at this period of time. Because I had a good foundation, I was able to remember, okay, this is not normal. I need to go back to not doing nothing and just focus on what is important, which is your own baby. The first 12 months of having a baby is really your postnatal period. You know, 6 months is really vital, but really to extend it to 12 months, because you're going to have a lot of changes, ups and downs. The baby's growing, you're growing. It's really a very dynamic 12-month period. You're changing a lot. You're changing in your chemical, your hormonal dynamics is changing. If you choose to breastfeed, that's changing you in many ways. The exchange of energy between you and baby, because the baby's changing as well. And a lot of energy is being used up in this process. So it's really important that you take your time with yourself and not focus on too many external things, to really understand and feel and learn and process how important you are in this time. If you do get the chance, I know in this day and time, 12 months at home may not be easy or sustainable for a lot of women out there, but if you can extend it to beyond 3 months or 6 months, that is as enough. That's just as good. I would say the first week is like cement to a house. You're building a house, you want a really good foundation. I believe experiencing or having a Lotus birth gave that for me, made that possible for me. And it's made me a better mother. I understand my body when it's not working very well. I understand it when I can see in other women. So it's really helped me in my practice as a doula. So I can share that knowledge and really have insight to women on postnatal recovery. And I implement all the other healing modalities too, and really share that and really instill how important this is. That's my story of my Lotus birth experience. If you'd like to find out more information on birthing preparation, or on the postnatal recovery tools I use, you know, the belly binding, the Lotus birth, the herbs I use, and the benefits and how it works, or just any questions you have about you wanting to have a Lotus birth, you know, you can go down to my website, log into my website, which is www.udoac.co.uk. Send me a message or just make comments on this video. I would love to talk to you about, you know, postnatal health and wellness. Thank you for listening.